Dam levels in Nelson Mandela Bay have risen over the last couple of weeks due to the very heavy rains, but there's still no talk, and I'm wondering about this, still no talk about the drought having been broken or even the water restrictions being lifted. Let me remind you, of course, it's contextual. The Eastern Cape Metro being drought-stricken for 8 years, so I can't imagine it's all going to change just over a couple of weeks. Let's find out how we are looking. Nelson Mandela Bay Mayor Gary van Niekerk joining me this morning. Mayor, hello to you. Just help it make sense for those of us who don't know the area that well. Quite a lot of rain coming through, but you're still dealing with water restrictions. Why is that?
Yes, thank you very much. We're thankful for all the rain that we've had over the last few weeks. Regarding the water restrictions are not imposed by the municipality, but rather the Department of Water and Sanitation. So that's a provincial competency that gets given to us, and we table it in council and we note it. So it's not our competency to do away with the restrictions. So it's something that probably will be considered by province, and hopefully by the end of this month we should, if they do deem that our water restrictions should be lifted, it will be done so by the end of this month.
Well, that'll be good news if that's the case as well, because that's exactly what we want, water restrictions lifted. And then on the drought side of it as well, I mean, nearly a decade, as I was saying before I started talking to you, Mayor, that I can't imagine a couple of weeks of even very, very, very heavy rain that's going to suddenly vanish overnight. So I don't imagine that's the case.
Look, what I can tell you is that 4 of our 5 dams, our major dams, are 100% full. It's our one dam, it's the Mpofu Dam. That dam depends on the Churchill Dam, which is 100% full at the moment, and it is running into the Mpofu Dam. But the Mpofu Dam is only sitting at 24.7% at the moment. Wow. Our combined dam levels are 71% at the moment. So it's looking much better compared to a couple of weeks ago. So I don't think it's likely that there will be any major shift in terms of the water restrictions, if I can just add to what I said earlier. But hopefully, like I said, we will be able to relax the water restrictions. We need our B&Bs and so forth. It's a summer season coming up. We're expecting a lot of visitors over the December period, and they need those water restrictions to be lifted. So I will be campaigning that they do get lifted, but let's see if we are successful.
Yeah, absolutely. On the drought, perhaps I'm asking a very silly question, and I don't seem to remember my geography from primary school. So if you're saying it's 100% full for 4 out of 5 dams, does that mean you're no longer in drought? Is that correct, or am I misinterpreting it?
Look, the way the experts have explained it to me is that there's 2 types of droughts. I must get this word right now: the meteorological drought, and you get the hydrological drought. So the first one has been broken with all the rain, but the supply, the hydrological drought, that refers to the supply of water. So you know that it's common knowledge that our infrastructure hasn't been replaced in years. So us supplying the water to our residents in Nelson Mandela Bay, that's one of the big issues. I'm pleased to say that the Grondal Dam in Uitenhage last week, we couldn't get the water to the treatment in Kabah, to the treatment system. But that has now been repaired. So that's the type of issues that we're sitting with in terms of supplying clean and safe water to our residents. But yes, like I said, there are 2 types of drought. The one has been broken, but it's now to secure and to ensure that we're able to supply our residents with safe drinking water.
Yeah. What is the infrastructure looking like? I imagine 8 years of drought doesn't do any kind of good when it comes to water infrastructure. I imagine it needs water in the system. Maintenance isn't being done. You know, if there's no water coming through, there's no money coming through, it means jobs are lost. What is the extent of the damage, the extent of the issue that you're dealing with? Paint a picture for me.
Yes, the water infrastructure in Nelson Mandela Bay has been neglected for many years. I am meeting this week with the guys from water and sanitation and our infrastructure guys as well, and we'll assess it when we do meet. They say it's important in times of war, you prepare for peace. In times of peace, you prepare for war. The same with this drought situation now. We now basically out of the drought. But we need to prepare for when the drought comes again. As you know, because of climate change, we're going to experience more droughts, more severe droughts, but we're also going to be getting a whole lot of floods as well, as predicted by the experts. So yes, our infrastructure needs a major overhaul in this metro, but it's a really a long-term plan.
I want to take you back a couple of months as well, Mayor, while I have you. A number of residents protesting over very high water bills. This was back in June, if memory serves correctly as well. They were complaining they had high water bills from the municipality, but they weren't getting water. What is the situation with the residents and the water bills and the ratepayers? Because it was a bit of an issue middle of this year.
Look, that's the billing system where we have issues, and that is something that's being addressed at the moment. The billing system of the municipality, we do have some glitches in the system. People are getting bills of R1 million plus, and but we are rectifying it. We do have a designated a department to look at those kind of issues. As soon as it comes in, we escalate it, and we tell people, normally we tell them just to keep paying what they normally pay while we address the issue of this water bill that's so high.
Yeah, I want to talk as well about the private sector. Businesses, I'm sure, as everyone seems to be using it these days, the public-private partnerships. What does it look like for your water infrastructure? Are businesses coming in to play? Because I remember a little while ago as well that the chamber was coming in, the business chamber coming in, assisting with ideas, or perhaps it was financial assistance, I'm not too sure. But they were quite vocal. Where are you in those engagements?
Yes, we're constantly meeting with the business chamber, and I actually want to thank them as well for the assistance that they provided over the last couple of weeks or months or years rather, and as well as those who prayed for the rain, the churches and so forth. I want to thank the community and just everybody that came on board. But businesses are definitely has come on board, and we want to thank them for their input over the last couple of months, and going forward we will be engaging them in terms of how they can assist us going forward. They have assisted in a big way over the last few months.
And now when it comes to all this water, Mayor, that has been falling, the rivers are looking good. I know in Joburg we have major infrastructure issues. We don't have the water catchment infrastructure. Our pipes can't handle the volume. Our pipes are leaking, etc. How concerned are you in Nelson Mandela Bay that you've now got all this water that you've all been praying and wishing for, but how can you actually control that water apart from keeping it in dams?
As part of my 100 days, my first 100 days in office, our main goal was to get rid of the backlog of all the water leaks, and we were successful in doing so. So our infrastructure, we still have water leaks. We have new water leaks weekly, and I am getting updates from the infrastructure and engineering department. But our backlog of water leaks, pipes bursting, that's done away with. But going forward, we are looking at definitely improving our infrastructure within the Nelson Mandela Bay.
I see an article from Daily Maverick going back a couple of weeks as well. Some of the reports and research they've done. You might be aware of this, Mayor, that 11% of Nelson Mandela Bay's treated water is lost to theft and illegal or unauthorized consumption. That now becomes a crime issue, doesn't it? What are you doing there?
Yes, that. I never thought that people will actually be stealing water, but it's basically illegal dams that farmers have on their on the farms as well. That's also a big issue. I'm taking a trip out this week to the different dams, and it will be something that I'll be addressing with the eNCA department as well, and with the police, of course. We will be making cases, and should somebody be found guilty, we'll make sure that they face the full might of the law.
I'm trying to end the conversation with some positives and some solutions. That's one of them as well, to try and stop the theft of water. You're right, Mayor, it just sounds odd to even say, but this is where we are, especially in your province. I see another solution is the business chamber we spoke about earlier, adopt a leak project, actually going around to schools. Because I see nearly 10% of water lost is as a result of bad infrastructure at a schooling level. Is that correct?
Correct. It's mostly at schools where we have this issue. Remember, schools are a provincial competency as well, but we are working closely now with province. We do have the new DDA model, the district development model. So we're able to engage each other on that level much easier. And yes, it's unfortunate that it happens at schools. It's not safe for the kids as well. I've seen some pictures that were sent to me regarding schools, leaks at schools, but we are addressing that issue at the moment, and we will be engaging with the Department of Water and Sanitation as well.
So the heavens have opened up. They filled up the dams, but they've opened up a can of other worms for the Nelson Mandela Mayor, Gary van Niekerk. Thank you very much. I was looking for my cliche there. I was struggling, but I found it in the end. Gary, thank you very much indeed for your time. So there's water, but now there's other issues as well, which have to be dealt with. I never thought we'd be talking about the theft of water, but here we are. This is how much of a scarce resource it is in our country. So on the issue of the water restrictions being lifted, as the Mayor says, that is a provincial task that needs to be taken up. They will be speaking to the provincial government later in the month. And as of now, a meteorological drought is no longer in place. It is still a hydrological drought. Look at me learning something as far as the rain is concerned.